Peace, peace, and welcome. We're glad you're here. This is the Cook on Monday Morning podcast. I am here with my longtime friend, the incredible, the creative, the homie.
Yes, sir.
Brian Starr.
Hey, happy to be here, man.
Yeah, man. Good morning.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for coming.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, man.
At Cook on Monday Morning, we believe that if you own Monday morning, you can own the week. If you own the week, you can own the year. And if you change your year, you can change your life. So Brian is the first guest that I've had on that I've known like most of my life. We met in middle school, or I think it was, I don't know if it was at James Lick or at the park, but we met like around middle school age.
Yeah, I think we were always in like the same neighborhoods, just like playing football. And yeah, it might have been James Lick.
Yeah. And so we grew up in the same neighborhood. That was like just after I moved to the Fillmore with my grandparents, and you were in Diamond Heights. But I'm excited to have Brian on because we also got started doing music videos together way back in the day when I used to do music videos, and he went on to become one of the most, if not the most prominent music video director in the Bay Area, award-winning. He's worked with probably most of the hip-hop artists that you've heard of, and he's seen a lot and done a lot along the way. So I want to get into your story. I want to get into what you're currently working on, anything new that you have exciting coming up. So yeah, I'm glad to get this thing going.
Yeah, man. Yeah, what, childhood or?
Well, let's start with music videos is like, I think, how most people know you.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about how you got introduced to filmmaking and where that has taken you.
Okay. Well, felt like when I was young, I was just kind of like floating around. It wasn't like something that clicked or something I saw that made me want to get into music videos or, media, filmmaking and stuff. My brother, he was like a big basketball, enthusiast. He loved playing, and he bought a camera when we were like really young, and he just wanted to record everything. He recorded like the neighborhood, and he didn't have anybody to do it. So of course, like he asked me, and I love my big brother. Supported him, always. And I just became his cameraman, and just for me, I kind of felt like I became like the librarian, like the video librarian for like the neighborhood. Like I was documenting all the things, all the changes and stuff going on in the neighborhood. And
when did that start?
When I was 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. So just like how the neighborhood changed. And like we became like the brothers known because like when I was 8 years old, like nobody had like a video camera. Like nobody like even thought about like, all right, I'm gonna spend like $300, $500 to buy a camera. Like kids weren't even like thinking like that when I was young. And we just became.
What neighborhood you grew up in?
I was born in the Bayview, and then like when I turned like 7, 8, I moved into Diamond Heights.
Okay.
So like we were filming, and then like one of our older homies, he was starting a program called CYMC, and he knew that like, oh, I know these two kids are like editing videos with their VCR and they're like recording every day. So he got us into Conscious Youth Media Crew, and inside that program we learned about like editing and just like went on movie sets and did everything like film related.
Mm-hmm. And so it started with basketball. What did some of the basketball pieces that you put together look like?
Well, are you familiar with street ball? Yeah. So we kind of did like a non-recreational, like non-fundamental version of regular basketball, and we kind of like filmed like a couple guys in the neighborhood, and we created like a DVD called Unprotected Hoops, which we sold copies of like overseas, Asia, Europe. It kind of like created like this little underground buzz. Mm-hmm. So mostly like that was like most stuff that we did with basketball.
Mm-hmm. And so you did that. What ages were you when you were putting that together? Like the sort of age range?
Well, it started. I mean, we started when we were 8, so like we filmed like us growing up playing basketball. We started making like actual tapes, like our first VHS tape. I want to say I was like maybe like 13. We created like just stop and start on the VCR, created like added music and created like a project with that, and then we like kind of got a crew together. We started printing T-shirts, and then once we knew that we could take it to the next step and like edit on like a non-linear program like Final Cut or iMovie or whatever, we created a DVD. So I want to say we created the DVD like maybe 2006.
Okay, and so that's when you started creating DVDs, and you also did a feature length film.
Yeah.
Did you do that before you got into music videos or after?
It was during. I started music videos. I can't remember like how far back like I started, because it was like, I know that it was like one rapper in the neighborhood when I did like my first music video. Now like it's like 20 rappers in the neighborhood.
Right.
But yeah. What was the question? I'm sorry.
About the feature length film. I was trying to get the chronological order right.
Yeah. So I want to say like sometime between 2006, 2008, like we created like a feature film with Conscious Youth Media Crew, Choice of Weapons.
Yeah, the name of the film was Choice of Weapons.
Yeah. So
I was an extra in the movie.
Yeah, he was in there. Huh? He made
What is Choice of Weapons?
So Choice of Weapons at the time and still currently is like dealing with some of the issues that are happening in the Bayview, gang injunctions. In the back, there's like a toxic yard where they're like digging up like a lot of toxic dust. Like there are people getting like lung issues and nose bleeding, and we kind of like went to like a lot of meetings and like in the community and like kind of like heard the stories and like developed like a script based on that.
And so what was that process like creating that, and where has some of the places that Choice of Weapons has been debuted?
It's been debuted in Chicago. There was like a Los Angeles Film Festival that it played throughout. Yeah, and then like a couple of theaters in San Francisco. We played.
Yeah. But that's a big shift, like doing street ball to a feature length film. So what was that transition like for you?
It was different. Like, I mean, just being in Conscious Youth Media Crew, like when we first got there, we told stories that we wanted to tell about our community. And then when Choice of Weapons came up, we applied for this grant. I forgot, it's like the Cal grant or something, and we won. So we pretty much had to tell a story about a specific neighborhood, and then we kind of made it a little bit more creative. We like used like a relic or something, and then from there we just try to make it be as organic as possible. Like we got people from the neighborhood to act in the movie, and then all the people that were a part of CYMC, they developed the script, and then we just cast and shot it.
Right, yeah. And so when we first, do you remember the first project we did together?
Yeah, with the Usher, or yeah, man. Yeah, is that still out on YouTube, or
I don't think
you took it down? Huh?
I don't think it was ever went up.
Never went up.
Yeah. But
it was a classic.
Yeah. So in the summer of 2006, I did my first music video because I was doing like a project for a film class at SF State, and I knew you did video, and I didn't really know what I was doing. But it was basically like a short story that was played to the background of an Usher song. Yeah. And the morning that I did that music video, I was robbed at gunpoint. It was like a Friday morning in Lakeview.
Hey, man, I'm glad I stayed home that
day. And I was robbed at gunpoint. And then like after it, I was with my little cousin. And after it happened, I was like, all right, I got a video to shoot. So we drove. I never reported it to the police. We drove straight to the music video set, and I think somebody that was connected to you was helping. But that's sort of how our partnership, because we've been friends since middle school, but that's how we started doing like some music video work together. What do you remember about some of the projects that we get together, like that story and et cetera?
The ones we've done together? It was just like endless hours. Like I know that like once we shot, we just like we're working like late hours at night. I think one time we forgot like one piece, like a hard drive piece or something. We had to drive. I don't know if you remember that we had to drive like an hour or two just to get it to Yeah, it's just like it was cool, man. Like on set, you know, it was like stories that's kind of like a little bit explanatory or whatever. But it was fun, man. Yeah, it was good. It's fun working with friends, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think we did a somewhat of a movie with my cousin Marquise. He created the Adventures of Nippy Swagger, which is up on YouTube, and it's like it was kind of like modeled after Streets is Watching, the Jay-Z short film where it's a bunch of music videos strung together.
Yeah,
and you know, we pretty much work for free.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it was free.
And but I got a ton of experience on. I mean, for me, it was very instrumental in launching my career at starting things. You know, because people always use the term entrepreneur and all of that, and I think I've changed my relationship to the term because it's kind of overused. But those initial experiences creating music videos was like the first time, you know, I had an idea and then I had to bring it to life. And there were a bunch of people connected to the project that I had to bring along to finish the idea. And as I was trying to bring it along to finish it, a bunch of things went wrong along the way. And so, you know, when you're dealing with like other artists, right? And rap, you know, people want to have a good time. So everyone's like drinking and smoking when they get there. People don't want to listen. You got to try to get a location and like the equipment doesn't turn out the way you want to. And it was like, you know, everything was falling apart. But I never felt so activated and charged and committed to anything I was ever doing. And this was when I was in college, you know, and so it was incredibly stressful while we were doing it. We didn't get paid much to do it, but as soon as it was over, I wanted more, you know? And so I credit that time together with really allowing me to spur a bunch of other things that I've started since then, like the ability to bring an idea to fruition, dealing with the setbacks that happen along the way, and you know, being a part of something that can grow and build. But I stopped doing music videos, and you really made a career out of it, you know. So just to do this real quick, because I want to get into some of the artists that you've worked with, but this is like when YouTube is really becoming the platform for artists. For the videos that you've created on YouTube, how many views have you gotten across the videos you created?
I want to say like 40, 50 million.
40, 50 million. Yeah. And how many music videos have you done?
Maybe at least 400.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's, you know, like at one point I was shooting like 4 music videos a week. Sometimes, I remember one time I challenged myself to see how many I could shoot in a day, and I did like 10 music videos in one day.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, the whole process of music videos have changed now. Like, I mean, it's good to have, if you have like a concept, you know, like there's pretty much no limitations to, you know, what you can do as long as you can pull it off and stuff. But yeah, originally when I first started off, I had like a big crew, and like we had to have the lights, you know, the reflectors, you know, all these things. But now, like, if your concept is there, you know, all you need is your camera and your mind.
Yeah, so you were part of that wave that, you know, with technology, it really democratized who had access to creating stuff that the public can see and doing things in a way that was more affordable, that, you know, you can get out quickly. And so in 2006, that's the summer that we did that initial project together. Who are some of the artists you've gone on to work with?
I mean, everybody NorCal, you know, I've worked with E40, Mr. Fab, rest in peace. I worked with the Jacka, Hustler. I mean, you want me to name 400 people right now?
No, just the people that we might recognize.
Yeah, I've worked with Paul Wall, Alan Anthony, who's signed to The Rock. I worked with Freeway, worked with Lil Dicky, Chris Webby, Mark Battles, Locksmith. La Rue, just I don't know, it's a million people, you know.
What are some of the all right, so I want to get into some of the stories that you've had doing some of these projects. I want to start with the story of the music video that you actually shot with my cousin Joe. Joe is my cousin. He's a rapper. What's Joe's rap name?
Joski.
Joski.
Oh yeah, it's your cousin, man.
Yeah, Joski is my first cousin, Aisha Cook. Her little brother is Joski, and he was a part of. Was he in a? Tell the story of what happened, like the rap group and what happened the day of the video that I'm talking about.
So the song itself was like, it wasn't like a "We Are the World" song, but like it was a song that featured people from different neighborhoods, like rival neighborhoods. So it was like for just for what it was, like it was as close you can get to it. So we pretty much had to cross borders, and there was like a lot of moves behind the scenes happening in order to make that possible. So we were shooting different neighborhoods throughout the whole day. Like there were like cops, undercover cops, just like driving by, looking at us. It was maybe like an 8-hour day. So like we were like, all right, they're just gonna watch us all day. This is what usually happens when it's like 20, 50, whatever people out shooting. So I think towards the end of the shoot, we were filming inside of a park, and we were like filming a bunch of guys on the step, and we about to.
Where were you?
I want to say it was Harbor Road, like in the back of Harbor.
It's in Bayview.
Yeah, in the Bayview, Hunters Point. So we were back there, and we shot one scene, and then we were about to roll into the next scene, and then out of nowhere, like as I'm rolling the camera, like we just hear like, "Put up your hands!" Like, "Get down!" Like just like people shouting. Like we like, what's going on? Like we just like looking around and stuff, and a bunch of like plainclothes cops came up, didn't announce themselves. Had their guns pointed at us, and then we like some of us like, yo, like we trying to like calm down the situation, like, hey man, we shooting a video, like what are you doing? But there were like cops, at least like 20 cops coming from like every direction, and like people behind me. Like if you see the video, like a cop came from behind me, like was yelling in my ear, grabbed my hand and like put my hands behind my back, put the camera down, and it was weird like how they when he took the camera from me, like he actually like put it on top of a structure, and then it kind of like was aiming
for a
right,
playground. Yeah,
playground structure, and it was like aiming right at us. Yeah, it was just like a weird I don't know, just seemed unreal. Like it wasn't like it was something from a dream or something. And just the whole time I just felt like, man, I felt like a bad feeling, like something was about to happen, someone's about to run, or it was a situation that they weren't comfortable with, like the police, and they couldn't control, and somebody might get shot possibly. But luckily no one got hurt.
Yeah, so to replay a little bit of the context, it's a bunch of black males from rival neighborhoods that came together to do music, and they went to each other's rival neighborhood. So this was sort of like supposed to be an effort at bringing people together in peace. And then you came to another gathering place, and the police came up with, like, without announcing themselves, with no, were they looking for somebody? Was there like any sort of explanation? That's
they pretty much sat us on the wall, and they like took pictures and did video like one by one of each of us. We didn't know what was going on, or who they were looking for, or given really a reason as to why they were searching us. But they pretty much searched us, held us there for like 1 or 2 hours. And then eventually you said, all right, you guys can go. And that was that.
They didn't give you any explanation. They handcuffed you, laid you down.
Yeah.
And so with this video, is it still available online somewhere or no?
Yeah, it's online. We used a snippet of it in the video, at the midpoint in the video. And then there's like the raw video. And what kind of like made it sort of viral, it had just happened to me, and I was like, man, like I was thinking to myself, man, this is messed up. Like I was just sitting there, I was just like, all right, let me just put it on my like Facebook and just share it with my friends. Like I just want to show my friends, like, and I felt like they could relate because they know me. I just uploaded it, and then like I was getting like messages from like news companies and stuff, and different blogs like from all over the world, just people just vibing and just telling me like, yo man, I'm sorry that happened to you.
That's actually how I first heard about it, because we friends, and I saw it on the news.
Yeah.
It was like on SF Gate, or it was somewhere, some online news publication had it. Then I hit you after I saw it, and so that was like, I mean, was that your most viral video?
No, I mean that maybe have gotten like 1 million views or whatever on Facebook. But yeah, the Lil Dicky video is probably like the most viral. They got like 1 million in a day.
Yeah, and so when this happens to, like, you know, this is a common narrative for our community, like young Black males being the target of police, you know, like of police harassment, and typically when it happens, you know, we kind of like expect it. And there was this whole movement around activism, which I know that you've always been sympathetic, but you're not necessarily like an activist. Like you're out trying to create, you're making music, you're making videos that have a message, you believe in a lot of things that are socially conscious, but you kind of got wrapped up in this whole, you know, which really has been like a national conversation about unfair treatment of the police. Like, what was that for you? How was that? What was that experience like afterwards? Like people reaching out to you and all of that.
Well, it was something like, it wasn't the first time like I have had like police officers interrupt like a video shoot of mine. So it was like a numb experience for me. But like, as far as like everyone reaching out like from all over, like I've never had that happen. Like, I don't know, I guess you can grow accustomed to it. I'm like, all right, this is just how the police treat you and stuff. But like, if you see the world react to, you know, something's happened to you, like, it's like, damn, like maybe this isn't right, you know?
Yeah, because before this happened, there was an incident where you got arrested for mistaken identity.
Yeah.
What happened then?
I mean, I was just, I don't know. I feel like growing up, I've always, you know, been harassed by the police. And I just had left my mom's house, and I was running to go hop on the bus, and for some reason, like, this cop car just pulled up and said, "Hey, you stop." And I was like, "Nah, man, there go the bus. Like, I'm about to hop on the bus." You're like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I just kept walking, like he's an idiot. And he like moved his car and tried to run me over. I'm like, all right. I just stopped, and yeah, they eventually said like I stole like a cell phone or something. And the weird part was like another car came, and it was like a block away, and then like they had me like stand up, turn left and right. I'm like, all right, this is the guy they said is him, and they like took me to jail. And I'm like, whoa, like this is real. Like, y'all really taking me to jail? Like, and long story short, I mean, I did like maybe 2 days, and like the guy that they were looking for was like 50 years old. He had like a beard. Then he had dreadlocks. Like, I've never had dreadlocks. Yeah, and I think I wrote to the city, to the police academy, like for an apology, and like they never gave me an apology. But yeah, I don't know. It happens, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it should never happen. But like when you got arrested, your sister called me.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, I've never had any issues like with the police or the law. I've never had any kind of record. My sister saw me like being handcuffed, and like she saw them throw me in the car, and like she literally looked at me. It was like, is this real? Like, what's going on? Like, she couldn't even react. It was like just, you know, it's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, when it happened, and she called me, I was like floored because I mean, I've known you, like I was saying, like all my life. Like you've never done anything criminal. You've always like you don't smoke or drink. Like, you're not out there making bad decisions, and you've always been a creative, like the dude that was you know, doing something positive. And so when it happened, I immediately knew you were innocent, and I was livid, right? And so I'm calling everybody that I know, like the people that work in the district attorney's office that I know, a police officer that I know, and they were all like, "Well, if he actually didn't do anything," and I was like, "No." I was like, "No, he, you know, I don't want to raise my voice right now." Like, I was on the phone. I was like, "There's absolutely no way that he did anything wrong. Like, I know this dude," and one of the guys I know that's a cop, he was like, "Man, trust me, like this happens all the time."
Yeah.
Like, it happens all the time.
You know, we're strangely
Then I was
enough,
like, all the time.
Yeah.
It was like mistaken identity happens all the time. And he was like, yeah. And so it was education for me. I've never been, knock on wood. I mean, I'm still a black man in America. I've never been arrested for mistaken identity. But even if I knew you were somebody that was sort of involved in stuff, I might have been like, well, I'll do what I can to help, but I was just like, there's no way Brian stole somebody's cell phone.
Yeah.
And then they ref you up for stealing a cell phone, which is like, we have all these misdemeanor crimes that happen all over the city that seem like go without any sort of consequence, like people getting their car is broken into and all types of stuff that people don't really like get arrested for. So the way the story sounded, I'm telling your story how I felt about it. It felt like an over exaggeration.
Yeah, hey, man, what's happening to one person happened to us all, man.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, they had like 6 cars on me, man. And then when they took me in, they really played like the good cop, bad cop thing. Like every police officer in there said, like, yeah, I know you did it. Like, I'm like, wow. And when I was in there, like by day 2, I was like, damn, this is gonna be my story. Like, I didn't think I was getting out. Like, I felt like, because there's people that serve time for like years, and then were innocent,
So what led to your release?
I guess there was fingerprints on the phone and it didn't match mine, and they just called my name and I just walked straight out.
And did you try to pursue you asked for an apology. Did you pursue any legal action against the police?
Yeah, so we pretty much, because of the 2 incidents, were pretty close together with the music video and me being arrested for that time I went to the movies. We try to include my profiling with the case of them raiding our video shoot. So, I mean, everything got pretty much dismissed at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dismissed meaning that what?
Well, we pretty much went into settlement court with the police department. So there were 2 like different settlement rooms, and I think we had like a high ask, and theirs was like maybe like a tenth of what we were asking. They offered us like $1,000, and then it maybe went up to like 20 or so. But just the fees it would have took to fight the case, it kind of like scared everyone. Honestly, like it was like if we lost, it would have cost us like probably each $50,000, which none of us had.
Yeah. This is like one of the major divides I think in the country about are the police justified when they engage someone, right? Like, do they have malicious intent? Are they targeting Black people? And there's part of the country that says that, well, he probably shouldn't have been doing something wrong and then there are others that will say they do this to us all the time, and we should expect it. But then when citizens try and seek recourse, there's like no accountability, there's no apologies, there's no fees for legal damages. We're just supposed to be okay with getting subjected to this unfair treatment, which is unacceptable.
And it starts early. Like, I remember just even when I was like 12, I've had like issues with the police of, just being harassed for whatever reasons. Like, I've shot in videos in my own neighborhood, and like, neighbors have called the cops, and like the police have pulled up and say, hey, we got a call. There was some people dancing on the corner. And we was like, officer, like, we're dancing on the corner. Like, what's the issue? Yeah. So just, it's always been like that for me.
There has to be some sort of, as a city, we have to be able to right these wrongs. And for people that are creatives like you, like, there's a whole permitting process to trying to film in a city, and it's really hard to get out, like the amount of cost it takes to do something in a way where you can block off a street and get permits to do it is really onerous. And we have to create easier pathways for artists to be artists. And because what you're doing and the people that you've involved as you were doing it are the people we need to focus on creative pursuits like this, like, because this work is actually transforming lives, right? Like, you got into music videos, you got into film, and I just happen to know this was like your way into something real because your academic experience wasn't so positive. Talk a little bit about what it was like for you going through K through 12.
I always tell people this. Like I've never really like been into too much or heavy into education. Like I've always loved math and always loved art. And I guess that's why it makes sense that I got into like, video, because it's kind of like you need math to like in order to edit, and art is like, the creative side. But yeah, school, like I just like resented it. I was never really present there. I just pretty much fill out my name and just like, zone out. But yeah, one time I had a teacher that really believed in me, and I had like a GPA that was like a 0.5. And then like within the next report card, it went up to like a 3.8, I kind of like, all right, maybe this is like a useful tool for me and I can use this for, something else. And then like later, got into CYMC. And then, okay, I went to further my video skills. So I went to City College, I went to San Francisco State, and learned a lot about film there.
Yeah. What were the schools you went to in San Francisco, like before college?
So in the Bayview, I was going to Alvarado. Then I went to Mariloma in elementary, James Lick Middle School. Then I went to McAteer High School. And McAteer was just like a very poor academic school. I think we had like the lowest test scores in all of San Francisco.
And did you finish at Mac?
So by the time I reached 11th grade, McAteer shut down because of the test scores, and it was like a lot of violence and stuff. It shut down and switched to the School of the Arts. So all the students at McAteer pretty much were dispersed, in different high schools in the city. So I didn't finish there. And I went to John Adams just to wrap it up.
Yeah. I mean, you are very educated, and you're one of the most. When it comes to creating films, like you have a track record of success to showcase your expertise in that, right? And so we have a traditional education system that wasn't serving you well, and you found a way to really show your genius outside of the school system. And I think that story is inspirational for the people who are currently in school that aren't really like jiving with school,
Just to let you know what we were dealing with at McAteer, like our Spanish teacher, in order to pass this class, and it was like generations of people that always wanted to take this class. They were like, yeah, in order to pass the class, all you have to do is copy the Spanish newspaper. Yeah.
That's the type of rigor.
Yeah, like you get an A+, just copy the paper, boom, 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 you done.
So all you have to do is copy the paper and he give you an A?
Yeah, you get an A. This is in high school.
You just spent the whole day copying the paper?
Yeah, or you might watch a movie, Yeah. It was bad. Like even in like my English classes, like when I would read out loud and stuff, like, and I was able to read, like teachers like would stop me sometimes, like, wow, like you could read.
Whoa.
Like I literally had that happen to me, like a teacher interrupted me, like, wow, you can read. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, being on the school board, it's just like we have these teaching practices and this approach to Black students that is really harmful. And we have some schools where teachers are checked out, or high performing schools where they don't believe in Black kids. And it's also a message for them, if they see this, to see you and see that like what they're offering kids isn't adequate for them to really reach their true potential. For you, it was video. And I'm just wondering for how many more students that could have been filmmakers that we didn't get to,
when McAteer transitioned into the School of the Arts, like I was starting to get into video, and like I so bad wanted to go to Soda, but like they weren't allowing like any of the students from McAteer to go there.
Yeah, everything that happened around Soda too. That was like that's a really ugly story in our city about what happened with that site, and and the way that it like played out, like all these kids of color and Soda taking over the campus and them being dispersed. It's like, it's crazy to think that happened, Yeah. And yet through all of it, through like a education system that wasn't nurturing you, and the community where the police was harassing you, you still prevailed and made a name for yourself in the film space. And now you've since transitioned into doing other things. let's talk about some of that. Like what was the impetus for you sort of changing focuses in your career and what you're working on now?
Well, with video work, like, I mean, in a perfect world, you can work on creative projects that pay well, you know, but in reality, like sometimes you have to take on those projects that you aren't as crazy about. So I found myself trying to balance the two. And I kind of, in a way, resented like shooting videos sometimes. You know, I'm like, all right, like, A, this is a situation that's putting my life in danger. B, it's not really creative. C, I'm not really like feeling like, you know, creatively motivated or anything. So and I didn't want to work like a regular job. Like I didn't want to work for anyone. I've kind of found like, I realized that like a lot of my ambition and my self-motivation came from me, like, you know, just doing things and seeing what I can do myself, you know, and build and create. So I got into other things. I got into like vintage clothing and stuff. I'm a part of a collective in San Francisco and Berkeley as well called Indigo Vintage. So I mean, it kind of like the world's kind of mixed in together. Like this photography, like sometimes you have to shoot a model or whatever. Like sometimes different artists like G-Eazy, he's like wore stuff from our store at concerts and stuff. So I've got a little bit into that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so how did you start that, and what does the business look like now?
Well, how I started was dealing with some artists. Sometimes I would shoot a video and I'll have an artist show up like an hour late or 2 hours late. I'm like, all right, I'm not just gonna sit here filling my thumbs. Like I gotta, you know, keep moving, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like would, you know, go to different thrift stores or, you know, just figure different ways to utilize my time. And I got into like, I never was into like clothing at all. Like growing up, I was like, all right, whatever, I'll throw whatever on my back.
Mm-hmm.
But just like the history and like what was kind of behind like vintage clothing, and just, I don't know, it just kind of drew me in, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like got into that.
Yeah. And so you're part of a collective, but do you also like sell stuff on Instagram, or how does that work?
Yeah, Instagram, different apps online and stuff. I do a couple markets. There's one in LA called the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Different just like a whole bunch of different markets and stuff I do, as well as like online.
Yeah. What's the Instagram handle for your clothes that you use?
Oh yeah, so my Instagram handle is Peter Thriffen Vintage.
Say it again.
Peter Thriffen Vintage. It's kind of like a play off of Family Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been fun. Like I've met like and made like a lot of new friends. And like feel like it's opened up like a whole new chapter for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you're kind of like underselling it too, because like how many followers does Peter Thriffen have?
I honestly don't even have that many followers. I probably got like 3,000 followers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's more, I don't have Instagram. It's more than that.
Yeah. 3,000 followers on Instagram. You're nobody.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the real? The engagement though that you told me around Instagram was really interesting. Though, have you been able to spur a lot of business from it?
From Instagram? Yeah. It's constantly. I mean, like some people have like stores on Instagram. Like you can turn your Instagram to a shop page,
mm-hmm.
And then you can link it to everything, like to your Facebook, to your website.
Mm-hmm.
People are selling stuff like every day on Instagram. It's almost like up there with eBay. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you could hashtag something specific, and
Mm-hmm.
you know people look for it.
Do you enjoy doing vintage clothing more, or music videos more, or filmmaking?
You know what? Like when I first started doing like vintage, like it was like a 90-10 split, you know, in terms of my time and maybe my enjoyment. And then like, I don't know, I just started devoting more time into vintage. I still love film. Like I look at like old videos of mine. I see new videos. I still do videos now and then. I shot something like last week that I'm editing now. I don't know. They're both my babies, man. So I got a set of twins, man.
You don't want to pick one, yeah.
Yeah, I can't pick one. You know, it's. I mean, you're dealing with more people with a video. Like if you're on a set with 100 people, you know, and you're trying to create something and drive people in a specific direction, you know, that could be stressful sometimes. There's really no stress with doing vintage clothing. Like, and I get to do like a lot of the same things I would do. Like I'm traveling to different states, eating new foods, learning about different cultures, and making friends, like as I would with video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of babies.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
need you to babysit this real soon, man.
What's that?
I'm gonna need you to babysit.
Oh
real soon.
yeah, anytime. So yeah,
Yeah.
you got a baby on the way.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got a little girl coming, man, in April.
That's beautiful.
Really, really excited, man. The day that my girl told me, it's just like a feeling I never felt before, like a proud feeling. I mean, you can do like many things in life, like you can have like a million views or do this, do that, travel, whatever. But like the feeling you get when you become a father, know you're about to become one, it's like it's next level.
Hmm. Yeah. Talk about. I mean, I know you have like a history around your family dynamic, like how you were raised, and you're about to step into parenthood. Share a little bit about. We didn't really get into it, but kind of what your home life looked like and how that informs the type of father you want to be.
Well, I pretty much like my mother pretty much took care of me and my 4 other siblings. My dad wasn't around. My sister's dad, he was around here and there. But like my mom, she did like a hell of a job just like keeping us out of trouble, like making sure like, we didn't want or need for anything. And I kind of like, I was never bitter towards my father, but it kind of gave me like a feeling of wanting to be there when I had to become a father. So just like many values and stuff and wisdom that my mom just shed on me, just like got deeply embedded in me.
What did your mom do most of growing up? What did she?
She worked Muni.
My dad is a Muni driver. That's
Muni
why I
ain't no
wanted you
joke, man. They turn your back, your arms up, man. Like,
what did she drive? Did she drive for Muni? Or what
yeah,
did she do?
she was in the woods. She drove like the 52 sometimes. We get a free ride,
Oh, right.
On 14 is brutal, man. But yeah, she did Muni for a while. She worked Laguna Honda.
Yeah. A lot of Muni is one of the biggest employers of Black people in this city, and I feel like a lot of Black people that grow up here, we got a family member that works for Muni.
Yeah, cousin, somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Why we gravitate towards Muni like that?
Well, I mean, I think like you also have to consider why are other departments hiring Black people at the same rate, and what Muni is giving, what Muni is offering that allows them to take care of their families. You know. Because my dad drives for Muni, but he started maybe like 5 years ago. He was driving paratransit. My first cousin, Aisha Joski's older sister, she drives for Muni. She's been driving for Muni like 10 years. I have another cousin that drives for Muni. And so I keep talking about that because there's a lot of issues around how Muni treats its drivers. And at the same time, the type of salary that the drivers are getting allow Black people to have a chance at staying here in the city, So there's something there that I think that is worth building on, exploring, improving. But your mother drove from Muni, and she raised you mostly on her own. Yeah. And now you're about to step into being a parent. And so, how do you think about that? Like, what's like on your mind when it comes to
I mean, I don't have like a 9 to 5 to where I can like consistently like depend on, like every day in order for make things happen for myself and now for my child on the way, like I have to get creative and make it happen, So, I mean, I feel like I've always been an ambitious person, like, and when you have a kid, it definitely like triples that, So, I'm excited about it to see like, what levels that, this new arrival is going to push me to.
And talk about your girl a little bit too.
Oh,
because you're not having the child,
Yeah. It feels like sometimes the fathers share the same symptoms and stuff. I've been getting a little bloated, man. All that rice. Yeah. Nah.
How long y'all been together?
We've been together. Me and my girl. We've been together for like 7 years. Like the longest relationship I've ever had. The most, I wouldn't say challenging, but the most rewarding relationship I've ever been in. Yeah, I don't know. What you
Nah, just that. Whatever you want to say.
Yeah, man, I love my girl, man. I love my girl.
Yeah. Good luck with the pregnancy, and I look forward to meeting the child. So I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
I think you're going to be an amazing father.
Yeah, and it's been like another reason why I sort of shifted from music videos. Like there's many stories like of like a lot of dangerous stuff that's happened on music video sets. Just been like shootouts and you name it, man. And it's a lot different when you're shooting like a music video to where it's all organic. Like, all right, we got 100 people from this neighborhood versus we're in LA, we're going to hire an agency to bring us 100 people and it's a controlled environment. So I just ran into like a lot of situations like that. And yeah, I've probably been in like, as far as like impoverished or hood, you know, ghetto areas, I've probably been to every one in California, different states, you know.
Right.
And not to say I didn't value my life, but like now that I have like, you know, a kid coming, I'm like a little bit more careful in how I move.
Yeah. So you're looking to up your business pursuits in general, and you have extra motivation. Your life's gonna change when your daughter comes.
Yeah.
Are there any sort of broad stroke things that you're looking to get done in 2020?
I love music videos. Like I thought of like, all right, maybe I'll just transition into doing like corporate videos or weddings, but if I do that, I'll probably be falling asleep behind the camera. Like it has to be like a spark for me. Like, so I just been focusing more on like studying videos of directors that I like and like just doing treatments and scripts, just like staying sharp. A friend of mine, he just did a film, The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
So like, yeah, things like that, like I'm gravitating towards like developing and creating.
Okay. Cool. So I'll wrap up the interview talking about two things, leadership and legacy. And so because you've pretty much worked for yourself, you've involved other people, you know, you've had to, we talked about get projects done to bring people in a particular direction. Do you have any guiding principles when it comes to leadership?
Well, for me, like it was always like lead by example, and then just like responsibility. Just like recognize that you're responsible, like, you know, for others sometimes. For instance, like just being on a video set and like making sure things are efficient and run smoothly, and, you know, and being like that guiding light to, you know, kind of ease and help people sometimes has been like a big thing for me. Legacy, like I
got something for legacy first.
Oh,
let me I gotta set it up. Yeah. Any other guiding principles on leadership?
Like I believe that idle time is the devil. Like I'm just like in love with constantly moving and, you know, progressing and stuff.
Yeah. All right. So on legacy, so I named my company the Luther Harris Holding Company. I named it after my great grandfather. He came here from Arkansas and started a life for him and his family. He had a 6th grade education, bought homes for all of his children. He did it at a time when it was much harder for Black people to do anything significant. He also worked for Muni for a time. So his legacy is important to me. This is his dictionary. Oh. And these are his wife's chairs.
Okay, they're a little creaky.
They are.
I'm trying to keep still, man.
Yeah. So his legacy is important to me, and it's important in terms of how I think about my legacy. How do you think about your legacy?
You know, it's funny, like my stepfather, who I looked at as a father, he had a book just like that. It was like an unabridged dictionary, like super fat. I don't know, I just kind of like what he did, like he instilled like a lot of wisdom in me. So like I just try to spread wisdom. You know, yeah, man. I feel like my legacy is still developing. Like I've created like a lot of cool projects and built like a lot of friendships. I feel like friendships are really important to me. That's more important than money or anything. If I, you know, like when we had the program where we were helping the kids and doing like, and I was teaching the kids multimedia. Yeah. So I would say just like passing the torch and just like teaching the youth something, you know. And like my sister, she I'm sorry, I'm like jumping all over the place. I always jump all over the place.
You don't have to.
My sister, she works with kids, and she always tells me like, hey, I need you to like, won't you come in and like work with kids? Like there's no Black men like coming in talking to the kids and showing them what you do. And and like I was like, I don't know, I don't think it's a big deal if I really come in, but like when you actually do it, like when I worked with the kids, like, you know, I really saw that it was affecting them. And so saying that, I just feel like whatever you feel like you've learned, you know, along the way, you know, it's good to pass it on. And that's what I want to do.
Thank you, Brian Stone.
Hey.
That was fun, man.
Yeah, yes, sir. Did it.
Peace, and thank you. for listening to another episode of Cook on Monday Morning. At Cook on Monday Morning, we believe that if you own Monday morning, you can own the week. If you own the week, you can own the year. And if you change your year, you can change your life. The conversation I had with Brian brought me back. I've known him since I was like 11, and seeing him grow up, watching all the things that he's done and where his career has taken him, and seeing and knowing that his creative genius is what got him there. I don't know, it's really fun to reflect on. I hope you enjoyed our conversation together. I hope you learned something new. If you've been thinking about doing something creative and you've been holding off on doing it, I hope you tap into that and share that with the world. I'd like to thank all the people that make this podcast possible. I'd like to thank my videographer and producer, David Topete. Thank you. I'd like to thank Fernando and Cinco Marquez for editing the video. I'd like to thank all the people that have shared the work and subscribed to our channels over the course of our time doing this together. It's been really, really inspiring. I appreciate the community that we're building, and this isn't really about growing fast for the sake of growing fast. It's about tapping into and connecting to the people that we think will really benefit from this content. That said, we are on our way to 2,020 subscribers by April 30th of 2020. It gives us all something at the organization to focus on. So thank you for supporting that and asking people to do that on behalf of the show that we're doing. We don't ask for viewer contributions on this show. We really earn through affiliate links. We are working on some merchandise that we want to put up and share so that people can also purchase that to support the show. So if you go through one of the recommendations, and if you do your shopping on Amazon, whatever you purchase on Amazon, the show will get a kickback. We can help cover the cost of putting this together. I started a company called the Luther Harris Holding Company. At that company, I help education organizations grow their reach. I help nonprofit leaders grow what they're doing in terms of their impact or their fundraising. We do brand awareness and strategic advising. If you'd like to learn more about that work, you can reach out to me at Steven Cook. Anything you want to share with me about the show, things that we should be doing, you can reach out to me on Twitter at Steven Cook. My email is info@stevencook.com. And I'd like to thank all the people that we do this podcast on behalf, the people that help our city run, our muni drivers, our street cleaners, our teachers, our janitorial staff, the people that keep our streets safe, our first responders. Thank you. The show is for you. It's also for people in cities like Washington, D.C., Houston, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Chicago, L.A., Oakland, Miami, Indianapolis, wherever you are, and you are looking to change your Monday morning for the purpose of improving yourself and improving your community. This show is for you. I look forward to building together. I look forward to hearing from you. Peace, and we out.